Alongside the new rules for each faction in the upcoming combat patrol system, it seems a few armies are also getting a new updated combat patrol in terms of models to go along with it. And one of these is a brand spanking new set of soulless automatons for the Necrons. So let's take a look and see what you get and if it's going to be a good box to pick up. Like we saw with the Marines, this is a full set of rules bespoke for this set of units, which is only usable in games of combat patrol, so it is still a nice, quick, easy way for players to start a new army or just play a quick game, or for totally new players to 40k to get a basic understanding of how the overall system and game works. So for the Necrons, and this combat patrol in particular, which is called Amonhotep's Guard, you get the Reanimation Protocol army rule, which is much like their index. It allows you to return some wounds and some models to your units, so it's still very good, and in a smaller game like Combat Patrol, it could be a very, very powerful ability. You also get a choice of 2 enhancements. Overriding Control gives you the ability to fall back and still shoot, whilst Protocol of Resonant Focus is a handy little tool that lets you get reroll 1s to hit against an enemy unit of your choosing that is within 12 inches of the bearer. I think out of the two of them, the second one's a bit better. It brings a buff to all of your units and really will let you focus down enemy squads one at a time as the game goes on. Also, like the Marines, there is a choice of 3 stratagems. We have Mercurial Resilience, which grants a 5-up invuln to a unit when it's either attacked or shot. Disruption Fields gives you +1 strength to a unit in the fight phase, and Will of the Overlord gives you an extra OC to a unit. So again, these are all very, very useful, much like the Marine ones, and they are potentially very powerful, especially, like I said, in smaller games like Combat Patrol. Giving a unit a 5-up invuln in a small Combat Patrol style game will be a really significant boost to their durability. So I do like all the stratagems we've seen here and in the Marine ones. I think they are really fun and fluffy and will give a good, simple idea of what to expect from some of the more complicated stratagems in the full game, but they're just a nice way to introduce a new player to the stratagem system. There's also a nice simple choice of secondaries. We have Reclaim and Dominate, which needs you to have a unit within the enemy deployment zone for 4 victory points, whilst Treasures of the Aeons allows you to choose an objective in no man's land, and when you destroy an enemy unit that started the phase within range of that objective, you score points there. So it's essentially a get off my lawn kind of feel to that secondary. Again, like the Marines, there's nothing too complicated here. It is just some nice, simple, straightforward rules and abilities to help players either get into a game quickly if you know the system and just want to get a quick game in over a lunch break or whatever without all the fuss and hassle of the bookkeeping that a bigger, fuller game of 40k can bring, and also a really nice, shallow, simple way to introduce brand new players into the game system of 40k as a whole. In terms of what you actually get in the box model-wise, the Combat Patrol consists of an Overlord, Amonhotep himself, who is leading 10 Necron Warriors, 5 with Gorse Flayers, 5 with Reapers, and remember, these are set loadouts in Combat Patrol, so you can't swap anything around. There is also 3 Skorpekh Destroyers, 3 Scarab Swarms, and a mighty Canoptech Doomstalker. So it's actually not too shabby a Combat Patrol. I think it feels more like a Combat Patrol than the Marine one. Certainly having that big vehicle gives it that Combat Patrol feel, and the fact that it has 18 models, it does have a bit more heft to it than the Marine one we looked at the other day does. In terms of points though, it does come to 480, which is the same as the Marine one, so there is that balance going on that GW are trying to hit for Combat Patrol. So I do like that they're trying to keep the points in each of them fairly similar from what we've seen so far, although I will say this one feels a tad stronger than the Marine one in my opinion. And then of course we get to the matter of price. This is also a bit better than the Marine one, again taking into account that presumably accurate £95 price tag. This one comes to £19 for the Overlord, £30 for the Warriors, £30 for the Doomstalker, and £37.50 for the Destroyers. So that is a grand total of around £116.50 for the lot, which means you're netting a saving of around £21.50, or percentage-wise, that works out to about 19%. So it is more saving than the Marine one, but it's still not quite as good value as the current or older 9th edition combat patrols are, which, as I've said in several previous videos, tend to be around the 30% mark. So you're not getting as much for your money as you were with, say, the current 9th edition combat patrol, which did have around that 30-ish% saving. And I think, this is the skeptic in me, but I think if more armies end up getting redone combat patrols as 10th goes on, we can probably expect to see them having a saving of around 20% rather than 30%, becoming the norm as 10th goes on, which is a shame because I think 30% is a fair, reasonable amount to get a discount for a combined box set, but this is GW, so we can't be that surprised really. The datasheets themselves in the Combat Patrol are, like the Marines, pretty similar. There is just a few minor rules missing here and there to make the game a bit easier and flow a bit more quickly, I suppose. Warriors don't get their number is Legion for more reanimation, and things like the Destroyers lose their Whirling Onslaught rule. So again, for people that are really purist 40k players, I get why you might not like this, but I think at the end of the day, Combat Patrol may not be designed with those sort of players in mind. It makes sense for new players and for quicker games, so I'm totally okay with this overall. I think if you want just a quick game over lunch, you don't really want to be worrying about what does their number is Legion do again? Do I need to roll an extra dice? You know, and all these other rules that add character to a unit in the full game, definitely, and I love that they're there. But when you're just playing a quick 45-minute pickup game, you don't need all that. You just want to roll some dice, have some units, and have some fun. I think maybe the thing that makes me most worried about this set is that with Necrons being a starter faction in 9th edition, the Overlord, the Warriors, the Destroyers, they all came in the starter set and all the subsequent Elite editions and all that kind of stuff. So if you are a Necron player, you're going to have loads of these anyway. You're probably not going to need this set to get any more, so I can't see any current Necron players wanting to pick it up. But for someone that is wanting to try out a new army, as I have to admit I am quite tempted to with this one, or someone that is brand new to 40k completely, this is a really solid combat patrol to get things moving. You get a good HQ, you get some great battle line, and you get two very cool, very different units, one very focused on melee, one very focused on ranged, so you can put some models on the board, give them a try, have some fun with them, and see which playstyle you prefer the most before you buy, you know, another 2 Doomstalkers or another 2 sets of Destroyers. You can really see how you like to play the Necrons and what kind of direction you want to take the army in. So, I mean, overall, this is a fun combat patrol. It has a, not great admittedly, but at least somewhat decent savings, and the rules are simple, but again, they're relatively good, they're fairly strong. I think you will do well in combat patrol. You're not just going to get wiped off the board by any other faction in turn 1. And I think, again, for players that are new to Necrons or new to 40k itself, this is going to be a box that you may want to pick up and give a go. But, as always, what do you make of a Monhatex Guard? Is it worth picking up for new Necron players? And also, what do you make of the rules that are actually in this set? Let me know your thoughts down in the comments below, and as always, thank you very much for watching. Please do like and subscribe for more Warhammer content from me, but until next time, I'll catch you later, guys.